Dear learners, welcome to our third lecture. Today we shift our focus to the individuals who are central to the organizational process, that are managers. We will explore what defines a manager, the different style they adopt, the skill they must possess, the qualities that define excellence, and the broad ranging responsibility they hold. By the end of this session, you should be able to precisely define the role of a manager and differentiate between various managerial titles. We will analyze the primary management style such as micromanager and the task manager. We will then identify and differentiate the critical skill required for management, including technical, human, and conceptual skills. Following that, we will examine the essential qualities that separate a competent manager from the excellent ones. Finally, we will evaluate strategies for improving managerial effectiveness and gain a comprehensive understanding of a manager's broad responsibilities to all stakeholders. Let us begin with the fundamental definition. What precisely is a manager? In an organizational context, a manager is a person who possesses formal authority. This authority allows them to direct the activities of other people within the organization. But this authority comes with a critical counterpart, that is, accountability. A manager is accountable not only for their own work output but also for the work done by those over whom they have authority. This is the key distinction. A manager is therefore anyone who has subordinates and is accountable for the performance of that team as well as their own performance. The person performing this managerial function can hold various job titles and designation. You might see terms like director, vice president, supervisor, or team leader. Let's clarify a few of these. A supervisor is a fundamentally leader of a group of followers. Any manager who directs subordinate and is responsible for their work is, by definition, also a supervisor. More specifically, a first level supervisor is a manager who occupies the lowest steps in the management chain. They had lead a group of pure followers, that is, employees, who have no subordinates reporting to them. The term manager is often used to describe someone who holds a position above that first level. This includes the mid, upper, and executive level of management. A key difference is that this type of manager primarily supervises other manager and first level supervisor. At the very top, you have senior executive or SES. These are top level civilian managers whose positions are comparable to that of a flag officer in the military, such as general or admiral. Now let's look at two other important roles that function with managerial authority but in different ways. First, the individual contributor. This is an informal term for a manager who may have no subordinates but have only one assistant. So, why are they considered a manager? Because while they lack extensive resources or a large team, they make major contribution to the organizations based on their unique expertise. Second, we have team leaders. A team leader is someone who is delegated authority to lead a specific group effort. What is interesting is that they may not have formal supervisory authority. However, they are empowered to organize the work, assign tasks, judge the result, and critically provide input for performance appraisals. Both individual contributors and team leaders often function as action officers within an organization. Having defined what a manager is, let's now analyze how they manage. We will explore four types of manager based on their styles. The first and perhaps most well known is the micromanager. This manager assigns a specific task to each employee, but they go to a step further. Each task is already broken down into specific, precise steps that the employee must follow exactly. In this model, employees are not required to think for themselves, they are expected to execute. These managers are known to scrutinize the output of every task. Furthermore, they are often known for verifying each individual step within each task. This is why the term micromanager is used. They manage every micro details. Next, we have the teacher manager. This manager also works directly with employees on their tasks, but for two very different reasons than the micromanager. First, the manager explains in detail why each decision is made or why each step is taken. This ensures the employee understands all aspects of the task. Second, this manager actively asks employees for their suggestions and ideas for possible enhancement to the process. Following this style, we have the supporter manager. This style is appropriate when employees fully understand their task. Supporting managers tend to share responsibilities and decision making power with their employees. The key condition is that the manager is kept in the loop whenever the task fall out of the normal expected variance. The fourth style is the task manager. This manager delegates all responsibilities and decisions to their employees. This is a hands-off approach. In this relationship, employees are expected to be autonomous, only asking for advice from their manager when unforeseen circumstances arises that could be critical to the businesses. This brings us to a crucial point for a graduate learner. Must a manager choose only one style? The answer is definitely no. A truly effective manager does not fall into a single category. Instead, their style of management must be dynamic to employee needs. Think about it. How a manager handles a new employee versus an employee who has been in the same position for years will and should vary greatly. A new employee may need a micromanager or perhaps a teacher to learn the ropes. An experienced employee likely a need to a supporting manager. And, and an employee who may one day become a manager themselves would benefit most from a task manager. To learn delegation and autonomy, if management is not dynamic, employee will quickly become frustrated. So let's briefly recap what we have learned about the management styles. We have the micromanager who controls every detail. We have the teacher who explains the why and seek employee input. We have the supporter who share responsibilities and decision making. And we have the task manager who delegates fully in the hands-off approach. The most important takeaway is that no single style is correct. Effective dynamic or effective management must be dynamic, adapting its approach based on the specific needs and experience level of employee. Now we move to a second, more traditional way of classifying manager based on their level within the organization. To understand this, we must first view the organization as a business system. A system is simply a set of components that work together to accomplish one or more goals. In a business organization, these essential components include top management, middle level management, specialist staff, supporting staff, and operating staff. The arrangement of these components depends on the organization form, but the critical point is that they are all interconnected and must work together to achieve the firm objective. Let's start at the top. Top management is responsible for all planning and operation of the firm. Based on the organization's objective, This level draws and implement policies. They create separate program and handle budgeting. Their primary task is to direct, integrate, and control the activities at all levels. To do this, they rely heavily on conceptual skill to plan and set a vision, and interpersonal skills to work with owner and the public. Next is the middle management group. Their job is to ensure that the direction given by the top management are carried out efficiently by the operating staff. A key task for middle manager is to tackle bottlenecks. They are the ones who report operating problems like material shortage or inadequate manpower up to top management. They ensure organizational goals are met. Their skills are a mix. They use conceptual skill to plan for their department and interpersonal skill to act as the crucial link between top level and front line managers. Below middle management are the front line manager. These are the manager we previously identified as the first level supervisor. Their task is to plan, organize, and monitor the day-to-day work. They use their interpersonal skills to get employees to do what needs to be done in the way it needs to be done. How technical do they need to be? Their technical skill need to be just good enough to know right from wrong in the work they are supervising. These managers lead to the operating staff, which carries out the basic routine work of the organization, such as the actual production of goods. Finally, we have two other groups. The specialist staff carries out research and analysis. Their goal is to optimize profits and increase market share. They also handle product modification based on customer feedback and report to the middle level. The supporting staff support the function of the operating staff through the indirect measures. Think of the personnel or HR department. They handle records, salary, leave document, and maintaining a healthy competitive environment. At the base, employees use their technical skills to perform the task manager assigned them. Let's quickly review the management level. We can think of them in terms of their primary function. Top management set the vision and strategy. They direct. Middle management translates that strategy, coordinate resources, and handles problems. They link the top to the front line. Frontline management supervises the daily tasks they execute, and the staff, operating specialists, and support are the functional engine of the organization. They do the work. We have now defined manager and classified them by styles and level. But what skill must an effective manager possess? The key here is that these skills are not static, they must be continually developed. We will categorize these skills for overall managerial effectiveness into 6 groups: technical skill, human skill, conceptual skill, design skill, analytical skill, and administrative skill. Let's examine each one. First, we have technical skill. This is the ability to use specific tools, techniques, procedures, and resources in a specialized manner to perform a task. This is the how-to of a job. A critical point here relates to management level. The higher the level of management, the less need there is for technical skill. Why is this? Because top level managers do not need to directly supervise day-to-day activities. Second, we have human skill. This is the ability to understand, motivate, lead, and work effectively with other people. This category includes vital interpersonal and behavioral skill like communicating, leading, motivating, and negotiating. Now, unlike technical skills, what is the required level for human skills? The need for a strong human skill is equal at the every level of management, from the front line to the executive suite. Our next category is conceptual skill. This refers to the ability to think and visualize the total system. It's about seeing how all the pieces of organization fit together and understanding how the organization relates to the environment surrounding it. This is the skill used to develop a vision. As you would expect, this skill is most critical at the upper levels. Lower level managers need fewer conceptual skills because their supervisor or superior managers typically provide them with a detailed plan. Closely related is design skill. This is the ability to design a workable solution to a problem. It is not just about identifying a problem, which we will see next, but about creating a practical, achievable plan to solve it. Closely related is design skill. This is the ability to design a workable solution to a problem. It is not just about identifying a problem, which we will see next, but about creating a practical, achievable plan to solve it. This is a necessary skill for upper level managers who are responsible for strategy and direction. Fifth, we have analytical skills. This is the ability to solve problems by first identifying and analyzing that problem's nature. It involves breaking down a complex issue, finding the key factor, and understanding their interrelationships. For every manager, when faced with complex problem, need a strong analytical skill. Finally, we have administrative skills. This is the practical ability to communicate, cooperate, and coordinate with others. This skills is very essential for this skill is very essence of management, getting things done through and with others. Just like analytical skills, every manager needs to possess this skill. This slide synthesizes what we have just discussed. It shows how the required mix of skills change depending on the management level. As you can see, top level managers rely mostly heavily on conceptual and design skill to set the vision and strategy. Their need for hands-on technical skill is lowest. Frontline managers are the opposite. Their role requires high technical skill or at least enough to know right from wrong as they are closest to the work. Their need for broad conceptual skill is lowest as the strategy is given to them. Middle level managers sit in between, requiring a moderate level of conceptual skill and acting as the bridge. But what is the one constant? Notice that human skill is required equally at the all three levels. A manager simply cannot succeed without the ability to work with people. To summarize this section on skills, we identified six categories. Technical skill is the how to and decrease as your move up. Human skill is about working with people and is essential at all levels. Conceptual skill is about seeing the total system and increase as you move up. Design skill is about creating workable solution. Analytical skill is about solving complex problem. And administrative skill is the ability to coordinate and get things done through others. In today's lecture, we explored who managers are, the authority and accountability they hold, and the different titles and roles they may occupy within an organization. We understood various management styles: micromanager, teacher, supporter, and task manager, and emphasized that effective management requires a dynamic approach based on employee need. We also examine management level from top to middle to frontline along with specialists and support staff who contribute to organizational function. Finally, we discussed 6 essential managerial skills, that is technical, human, conceptual, design, analytical and administrative, and how the skill mix varies across management level, highlighting that human skills remain equally important at all levels. So thank you all for your attentive participation in today's lecture. Your focus, engagement and willingness to learn made the session truly meaningful. And I appreciate the dedication you bring to every class. Thank you very much.